Hello, hello, happy Halloween
Welcome back to Middle Ground.
podcast.
Why am I so silent?
I
Gotta
don't
speak
know.
louder. Okay, hello everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Middle Ground.
Talk better.
Talk better.
Yeah.
I need to get lined up. Also in the videos, if you haven't watched YouTube, you should. And I'm talking to the YouTube people. Hi. I feel like I'm leaned back like this. I'm like, hi. And I look so small. So I'm going to sit up here.
I pretty much always look large next to
you
you.
do.
Like, not in a bad, again.
No, yeah, I'm just
when I call
smaller.
myself large, I don't mean it in a bad way. I just do. Like, you're a petite person.
Yeah.
Relatively.
I am. But like, I don't think of myself as that.
Right.
But then when I see videos, I'm like, I look teeny.
I always think that I'm a generally like pretty normal sized person until I see myself in a room with any assortment of people. And I realize quickly I am rather large, although, and I think I've talked about this before, my friend Ross's wedding, he's like 6'3" or 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Ross, if you're taller than that and I didn't nail it. And his wife is 6 foot or 6'1". And their wedding party, like she
Was
played
so tall.
basketball
Oh,
in
yeah.
college and he was a swimmer, and their entire wedding party was huge. I've never felt so, I was like, I'm a wee petite little girl. I'm teeny tiny. It was so much fun. And I was
Tinkerbell.
34 weeks pregnant with Gardner at their wedding.
Oh, dang.
My body hurt for like 3 weeks because I danced so hard.
It still hurts to this day.
Yeah, my body never recovered.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway,
Anyhow, grounding moment. Do you want me to go first?
sure.
I was gonna have you, but I can.
I can
wing it.
go.
Okay,
I'm
go.
happy to go. My grounding moment is that we are getting our IKEA hack project done this weekend in the guest bedroom. So we took 2 giant Pax wardrobes from IKEA. They're almost 8 feet tall. And my dad helped us build out a bench that's going to attach them that has storage underneath.
Nice.
And then also an upper part that will have storage that's going to attach them up top. And then we're doing beadboard on the wall between the wardrobes, between the bench and the upper storage.
Cute.
And then we're painting it all the same color. And it's going to be a really similar
Including
color.
the built-ins.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So like the wardrobes, the bench, everything's going to be honestly really similar color to this color behind us.
Cute.
It's like a really deep green. And I think I'm going to get like a fun cushion made for the bench on Etsy. Like I'm going to find a
I always forget about Etsy.
seamstress. Yeah.
Like every time, like it's probably once every 3 months. I'm like, Etsy's the thing.
Yeah.
And then I get on Etsy and I'm
It's
like,
a great way, even if you don't purchase straight from Etsy, it is a great way to find creators and artists and seamstress and
yeah,
people
and support them.
who do that. And a lot of them you can find their shops outside of Etsy, or you could. I haven't tried recently. I know Etsy's like changed a lot of the way they do things.
Oh,
Anyway,
couldn't tell you.
yeah.
I purchased some cute wrapping paper. That's cute. And now I can't even remember what it looks like if I'm going to be
I
totally
heard a
honest.
rumor that a friend of ours is coming out with custom wrapping paper.
Oh,
Yeah, so keep an ear out.
keep an ear out.
We might be
ladies and
sharing that
gents.
soon.
My grounding moment is that I got my Halloween costume like figured out. I didn't like buy it. It's kind of like a makeshift. So if you're
So
seeing
sorry,
this, you're
world.
fine. If you're seeing this, it will probably be posted because this is Halloween when this comes out. So I am a firefighter with my dog and Chris, but I'm getting that all like sorted and finalized. I did it like last night. So yeah.
We're going to our Halloween event tomorrow, and I have no idea what we're being. I've been just keeping my... Excuse me. I just had the strangest... That was like a hiccup, but then a
was.
hiccup that never ended.
And then you can breathe.
Yeah,
for a
that
split
was
second.
really anxiety inducing. Anyway. Oh my God. Just cut me out of this one. Okay. Anyway, I have been watching TikTok because everybody's sharing their really clever costumes. So Matt and I are trying to decide what we're going to throw together. The thing with me is I really enjoy Halloween, and if we would have had a less busy like month leading up to it, I really believe that if you're going to do it, you should do it the most.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm looking for a way to look like I did it the most, but in like 2 hours,
Right.
which just is not
Sometimes that does work, though.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know yet, though.
And we didn't dress up. Sorry, we're not.
I know. I've seen every podcast in the world this week, and
I know.
everybody's dressed up.
I'm like, we're lame. Pretend we're dressed up, guys.
Yeah. What would you be?
No, we would have to probably be like a duo.
I'd be a Lego.
Well, we could both be Legos.
Lego's the coolest
It'd
costume.
be
I
hard to
stand
sit in
by
a
it.
Lego thing, right?
Don't care. We'd stand and record the podcast.
Don't care. I haven't carved a pumpkin.
I haven't carved a pumpkin this year.
Or painted one.
Gardy painted pumpkins.
Nice.
It's hard to say. Gardy painted pumpkins. And Matt and I talked about carving pumpkins today, or even Monday, which I know is kind of a weird thing to do, like actually on Halloween maybe, but I don't care.
Yeah. There's no rules.
I think we're going to do the pumpkin patch on Monday, possibly.
That's fun. Did I say my grounding moment?
Yeah.
Okay. Something's wrong with my head. I've been like...
You're grounding... Now I can't remember what it was.
I don't think I did say mine.
You got your costume together.
Oh, okay.
Was that it?
Yeah, maybe.
I think that's why that came up. Oh, boy. Let's get into scary
we recorded
stories.
an episode before this, so...
Which you guys know because we're in the same clothes.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
Good morning, USA.
You didn't think about that.
All right.
Okay, so by the title, you guys probably know we're reading the spookiest stories you've ever heard in your life. So
Ever.
be prepared.
I'm really excited. This one I liked.
I was gonna read that one.
Oh, you were?
That's weird.
Okay.
No, that's weird that out of all of them, like I saw that one. I don't have to read it, but that's the
Okay,
one.
well, I can read this one instead.
Okay, go for
Are you
it.
sure it's the same one?
Yeah, it's the same one.
All right, you go ahead. You got it.
No, you can read it. It's
Okay.
fine.
When I was little, like 7 or 8, I woke up in my room in the middle of the night. There was a lady, like if she was in a black and white movie, standing in my doorway. She was elderly, smiling her head off and waving strenuously at me. It freaked me out because I didn't know who it was, and the whole black and white thing was very weird. So I ducked my head under the sheets and hid. While under there, I started smelling flowers. I ended up falling back asleep while I was still hiding. I told my parents the next day, figuring at this point that I'd just had a scary dream. As soon as I described her, my dad asked if I smelled lavender. I wasn't sure, so he brought me one of my mom's candles, and it smelled very similar. He got this mystified look in his face and told me he thought it was my great-grandmother, who I'd never met. She was the one who had had my family home built 140 years ago, and she had lived and died there. Dad'd seen her a few times, and he always smelled her favorite flowers when he did. He thought he was crazy until I described her. Never saw her again, but I've often smelled lavender at my parents' house, particularly during important moments like my high school graduation. I think she just likes checking up on us.
Aw, that's kind of sweet, though. It's not, like, scary.
I know.
I mean, it's scary at first. Like, you're little, and that's, like, actually terrifying. But,
No, I think that would be terrifying.
like, in the moment. But then, like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I go back and forth, like, well, I mean, do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in energy.
I don't know what I believe in. Like, I always think about it. Like, I believe stories like that, but it's never personally happened to me unless I'm just, like, actually stupid and clueless.
I don't think I believe in ghosts like I don't believe in it like Casper. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's the way we think it works.
No, I don't think it's like a human. I don't know. Or like a fake. But then she says that. I don't know. But yeah, personally, I've never seen that. But also, like, I am terrified. Like, if I saw something that was like a resemblance of like my past, I don't know, ancestors that passed away, I would
lose it.
lose it. I don't think I would be like, I don't know, because there's those stories of like people are like, no, it's actually really calming to see your ancestors or like hear from them. I'm like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know.
Yeah.
I go back and forth.
I don't know. Your turn.
Okay.
Are you gonna be able to find one now that I stole yours?
No, you did steal mine.
We're really singing today. You think this is our time? Are we gonna get picked up for a record deal?
Yeah, it is.
Good morning, U.S. What's funny is I don't know that I've ever really watched that show.
What show?
Because isn't that a intro music to something? Is it a sound on TikTok right now?
Yeah, it's a sound on TikTok.
Okay, that's why I'm doing it.
But I don't know where it's from. I haven't done
I think it's a TV show intro. Anyway.
I would believe that. Okay, my whole life I've had this same exact dream all the time. In the dream, I'm walking down the hallway in my basement. Finally, when I reach the end, a tall shadow grabs me, picks me up, and throws me down. Oh, God. I feel the pain in my back, and the hands grab my stomach. I hit the ground and fall into a hole that leads to a void. It's all white until a flash sends it red and yellow. 2 lions and a demonic being with a skull mask stands there and watch. I always wake up from the exact dream covered in sweat. His mask is like that of a deer and antlers, and he yields a meat hook, and I'm not sure why. Whenever I'm having bad days, I get headaches and visions of dreams of everyone I love hung up with this exact meat look. I'm terrified. Hanging down from the sky in a black void with one overhead light. I have mental problems and I see things, and it's all the tall black creatures that grabs me in the beginning. When I walk, I become paranoid of my whereabouts and surroundings. I always feel like I see a lion ready to pounce.
That's horrifying.
That's not good.
No, I think you should talk to someone.
Yeah.
That's scary. I've never had anything like that happen to me.
I was going to say that. I've never had, like, people, I feel like a lot of people say, like, you have the same dream.
Repetitive dreams, yeah.
Never in my life.
I don't either. Not that it's never happened where I have something similar,
Yeah.
But I've never had it to where it's, like, reoccurring.
I saw this TikTok of, I think it was, like, a dream specialist. Maybe it was just a random person. But they said when you dream and you're aware of that you're dreaming, always, like, try to ask people in your dream what time it is, and, like, apparently the whole, like, system in your brain malfunctions and, like, goes to chaos because they can't tell you.
They can't tell you what time it is.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't really want to do that because I do have that capability. Like, a lot of times when I'm having nightmares, which doesn't happen frequently, I know that I am dreaming, and so I'm like, oh, switch the channel. Like, I can do that while I'm sleeping, and it, like, is nice. But I've never asked someone what time it is.
I've lucid dreamed where, like, I'm aware that I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
But no, I've never asked anybody what time it is. Most of my dreams are relatively pleasant. Not that I have night terrors.
Yeah.
Like, but there's no in between for me. It's either horrific, but I don't remember those.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever remember those, but my pleasant ones are fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's either, that's how kind of I am. It's either, like, pleasant or I don't remember at all. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm yawning
Okay.
so much. Okay. When I was about 5 or 6, I saw something outside my window. My room then had a bay window with built-in bench so you could sit on it or use it for storage. It sits about 4 feet off the ground if you're looking at it from the outside, and about 2 feet out from our house. When I first read this, I was like, your bench was not 4 feet off the ground. But I get, like, outside it was 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
So, like, you would have never been able to get up there. During the day, it let the light shine in just right, and the view from my window is a bit of the lawn that leads into the woods. One night after my parents tucked me in and turned out the light, I rolled over and was trying to fall asleep to the rain. Rain is the best.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Now, I didn't sleep with a nightlight or any light in my room. My room was down at the end of the hall. At the beginning of the hallway is a door you can shut. My parents would shut this door after putting us to sleep so they could go and do their own things without waking us. So, no light except for occasional lightning. So as I'm trying to fall asleep, watching the lightning and listening to the rain, doing the slow blink kids do before I fall asleep, I see eyes, yellow glowing eyes.
Terrifying.
Of course, I scream and then start screaming for my mom and dad. They come bounding in, asking what happened, what's wrong. I'm crying and pointing to the window, sobbing, eyes, daddy, there's eyes. My dad gives me that look of really and says there's nothing there, everything's fine, the thunder probably scared you. All the while, my mother's sitting with me on the bed, rubbing my back and saying it's okay, and so on. Beginning to calm down, I believed them enough to lay back down and say goodnight. This time my parents leave the door open as a just in case. So after they leave, I just face the door instead of the window and finally fall asleep. I wake up the following morning Forgotten about my scare last night, I go on to do what 4 to 5-year-olds do. Okay. Cut to that night. Normal night routine, not remembering the previous evening and just ready to go to sleep. Parents tuck me in, say goodnight, leave the door open. Again, I started dozing off facing the door instead of the window. This night there was no rains or storms, just crickets and cicadas, and for some reason I was pretty restless. I kept tossing and turning, and I just couldn't get comfortable. At one point, I ended up opening my eyes and was facing the window when my eyes focused and I saw them, the yellow, glowing eyes. This time, they blinked. At this point, I screamed for my dad. My dad comes in, flips on the bedroom light, rubs his eyes while trying to figure out which way is up. I'm pretty sure they were already sleeping. He asks what's wrong again, and I go through the same spiel as the night before. Even says it's nothing. He says it's nothing. Probably a curious deer. He even went and turned out the bedroom light and showed me there was nothing there. I told my dad the eyes blinked, and he said, yeah, why, what you saw was probably a deer. In my little head, I didn't believe him because deer don't have eyes like that. My mom finds a nightlight and plugs it in the hallway. I told her the light was too bright and I couldn't sleep with it in the hallway. At this point, my parents are getting irritated. Rightfully so, as I'm being unreasonable, and it was probably like 2 or 3 in the morning. I could tell they were getting flustered and knew if I kept it up, I'd more than likely get in trouble. My mom decided she would plug it in the bathroom at the beginning of the hall and leave that door cracked, and mine as well, so there was not a lot of light, but a little bit. Tucked back in, good nights, and the added it's late, there's nothing there, it was just a deer. When you screamed, you probably scared it away. You're fine, go to sleep, no more waking us up. I nod my head, roll over, say goodnight, and I keep my eyes closed and face the door, eventually fall asleep. The next day, I saw what was fresh in my mind throughout the day. I couldn't stop thinking about the yellow eyes I saw. That night, going through the nightly routine before saying goodnight, my dad sits on the bed. We're not going to do this. I see eyes thing tonight. You know what it is, don't you? I nod my head, not wanting to get in trouble. It was a deer, right? And again, I nod my head and I said, okay, I love you. Go to sleep. Both my parents give me a kiss goodnight, tuck me in, turn out the light. I pulled my covers up over my head and tried to force myself to sleep. Of course I couldn't, and I just kept tossing and turning. At one point I'd turned over and knew I was facing the window. I still had the covers pulled over my head. I remember laying there as still as I could and breathing as quietly as I could. I started to pull the covers over my eyes as slowly as I could to look out the window. There was nothing there. I felt relieved for a moment and took the covers off my head and was ready to get comfortable. Once I laid my head back down on my pillow, I looked back at the window. But there they were. Same place, same height, same everything. The yellow eyes. I was frozen, couldn't move, didn't want to move, just kept staring. And there they were, blinking. But tonight the eyes moved, side to side, just slightly. I covered my head and closed my eyes, then my brain kicked into gear and I hopped out of bed and with my cover wrapped around me, flipped the room light on, ran down the hall to the bathroom, grabbed my nightlight and plugged it in my room. I turned my bedroom light off and hopped into bed again, engulfing myself in the covers. I eventually fell asleep. I never said anything to my parents about it again because I knew they wouldn't believe me. And I never saw it again after that night. My parents still don't believe me, but I have to have every window covered at night ever since.
Huh. That's creepy. I wonder if it was an animal, though, but it's yellow eyes.
And some animals have yellow eyes, but for it to consistently happen night and night in a row.
And I feel like some people, like animals have yellow eyes, but only when like light shining at them. Like there's something shining at their eyes.
I also wonder if it's like a dream.
That's true.
You know, where like it's that reoccurring dream thing where you're seeing it out, like you're seeing your bedroom and your window in the dream. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, for sure. I was never like a monsters kid. Like I never, not that I remember, but I never thought monsters were gonna get me. I always thought like, oh no, a kidnapper, like that is what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
like I never went down the monster trail, but I have seen on TikTok of like monster spray. I'm like, that is so smart. It's like Febreze. They're like, yeah, monster spray.
That really is smart.
I'm like, you guys are the smartest people ever. I'm gonna do that if I have children. So when I was 11 or 10, my mother saw this truck that was on my property, and this was at midnight. So I went with my dad and grandpa, and we heard like a demon blood curdling scream, and I ran with my dad and grandpa, and because we heard this scream. And then we found out it was a wolf or coyote, and a guy shooting at the wolf or coyote.
That takes me back to, there's a I don't know if it's NCIS. I think it's like Law and Order. There's a Law and Order episode where they find this guy in a like big mascot costume, dead.
Oh, I think I've seen that episode.
And like in the end of the episode, not to spoil it for everyone, but they find out that a farmer accidentally, like he didn't even know that he had killed a person because it was in the middle of the night. And the person had been drugged at a party or something and were like on all fours throwing up in their mascot costume. And the farmer, they were on the farmer's property. Yeah. And the farmer thought that they'd shot and killed an animal. Yeah.
Dang.
And since it was in the middle of the night, they didn't like go observe.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Horrifying. My only like spooky, I was trying to think of like any I had, but I may have said this on the podcast before. This isn't spooky. It's more like actual real life scary. I was home alone and I went downstairs and because I heard like someone rustling, whatever. And I was like, oh, someone's home. Like, you know, someone in my family's home. And I go and I see this huge man, like tall, like probably 6'5" man, like hunched over, like looking through our, like one of our drawers that has like cups in it, like nothing special, just like this drawer. And his back was to me. And I was like, that's no one I know. So I like freaked out in my head and I was like panicking, but also frozen. And I was like, oh my God, I need to run. Like I have to get out. And as I'm about to like run out the front door, he turns around and he like gets up and he's this huge man, like bulky too. And he's like, oh, hi. And he like says it like that. And I was like, oh no. So I like, he can tell I'm like scared because I'm backing up about to run. And he is like, oh, no, I'm here to fix something. And I was like, not believing you. Like, you're in my house and I'm home alone. So now I don't even remember what happened, but obviously he didn't take me and he was there to fix something. But I believe I was like, okay, like for what? And I was like trying to like keep backing up. And
Space.
So he caught on that I was like scared. So he like stood still and like made sure he wasn't like making a sudden move. Yeah. And I don't know what he was doing. Like he wasn't a plumber or anything, but he was like a handyman. And I'm like, mother, why didn't you tell me this grown man was going to just come in? I don't know. It's terrifying.
That's scary.
Yeah. And I was like, the front door was like in my view. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to run out and do that. So I've actually said this on the podcast before, I know I have, but I always think about, because I was a swimmer, like if I was seriously being chased, I would dive into a body of water and swim for my life. Because I really think that I could outswim someone way more than I can outrun someone.
If there's a body of water nearby.
If there is, yeah. I'm not going to like sprint to like 40 miles to find one.
I think you're like in downtown Bentonville where
I know,
like you
I know.
sprint
but
into
like, I was thinking about that story, and at the time we had like a pond. But then now I'm thinking back and the pond was not that big. And it was...
But you could have tread water in the pond if they didn't want to get in.
Yeah, sure.
And if they got in also, you could get away.
Yeah.
So I think a pond is better. I was thinking like you're in downtown Bentonville and all there is the fountain. In the, you know, like you don't just go dive into the fountain.
No.
I also don't think that's
body of water.
what you were saying. No. But I think that's a really good point.
You know, like I've said that growing up, like in... I don't know why we talked about it in class, but we talked about like discussion of whatever. And I've always said, like, if there's a body of water, totally jumping in and swimming it. And like all the boys are like, you can't outswim a man. I'm like, guarantee I can. Most men. Like a swimmer man, probably not. Like a guy who grew up, Michael Phelps, no, he's going to catch me. But no, I guarantee and outtread them. Well, I guarantee.
Like... Yes, most
like
people,
I would be safe.
Yeah,
running, no, they're gonna catch me.
I didn't realize what a skill treading water is. People can't do it.
I know. No, I think about that all the time. And also like how I'm not scared. Like I fall off a boat, I'm not like panic. And but that is like terrifying for most people, I feel like.
Understandably.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful. Like I have confidence I can make it, and float and stuff. But anyways.
I'm trying to think of any scary stories I have. And I really just don't have anything super good. That's scary. Like what you said about somebody coming into the house.
Yeah, because it's like real life. I mean, I feel like ghost things are scary too, but like a real life scenario where you're like, oh, like it's happening to me. What do I do?
Yeah.
Like terrifying.
I've been scared I'm being followed.
Yeah.
Like a handful of times. Or being targeted, I should say, more than even followed.
Yeah.
Like where I know people are behaving weird. And that's been scary.
Yeah, like I've had scenarios like that too. Like in Italy, I think maybe have said this on the podcast. I remember,
yeah, I think you did tell this story on the podcast.
Long story short, I was in the metro. I'm like minding my own business. I have one earphone in, and I see these like, I think there was 3 of them, maybe 2, but like grown men dressed in suits, and they were like bald, what I can remember, and like aviators on. I was like, oh, okay, they're like fancy.
Like, are we in the Matrix?
Yeah. And I just like thought nothing of it. I just thought it was weird because like they were out of character. Like they didn't really look Italian either. And I was like, okay. So I just had my eye on them. And then I get off my stop and they get off. And I was like, yeah, there's no way. So then I got back on the metro and they get back on the metro. I was like, okay, we're really doing this. So, and they were like a couple, like maybe 2 carts in front of me. So like they weren't close to me per se. And there was a lot of people around, which I felt comfortable. Not comfortable, but like, okay, there's witnesses. So then I was like, I'm gonna have to really work for this. So then I got off, they got off. And so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna have to get off and like run around. So I got off, ran around, like through the people, got back on, like it did that a couple times, got off back, all the things. And then I found this group and they were like all Americans. There's like 10 of them. And they were like in a circle. I was like, can I stand in the middle of the circle? They're like, yeah. And I was like, I think these people are following me. I might be like, over thinking this, but like, can I just stand there? Like, yeah. So I like stood with them and then they were gone.
Still scary.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to run out and like show them where I live,
Being alone as a female, like as a woman, scary.
Scary.
It doesn't matter where you are. Like even if you're somewhere that's really safe, because you just understand that you are not the physically stronger
right
being.
Yeah. I know. That's why I go to boxing, but
that's why I always wanted a big dog.
I know. I always think about that too. Like, even when I like walk Frankie alone, like here, like, and it's relatively safe here, I always just like keep my eye out, And there's these like prompts you can teach your dog, like to bark on command and do all this stuff. I'm like, I really need to do that. Like, if Frankie could just like, I could say a word and Frankie just barks on command, I'd be like, yeah, that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe not terrifying. Like, she's not like huge, but like,
but
scary.
I think that it's much less likely being a dog owner to have somebody like break into your house, because dogs are like,
yeah,
they can hurt you.
Yeah, they can.
Likely not always going to, but they definitely can.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can I talk? I always have intrusive thoughts too. This is like going down a rabbit hole, but like, I'm like, oh, I have this Dalmatian. I love her. I've always wanted one. But I'm like, oh my God, like I'm so, not just because she's a Dalmatian, but kind of like that's such a rare dog. I'm like, oh my God, like, does that make sense? Like if I can like disguise myself, like if I was being followed, like duck in somewhere and like.
Oh, but people aren't gonna be like, oh, a girl with another Dalmatian.
Yeah.
I think that's any dog though.
That's true.
Like even if you were with a golden retriever, like it's a really identifiable thing.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's terrifying.
Because there's this girl that I used to hang out with years and years and years ago, and I know her dog really well. Haven't seen her in 3 or 4 years, and she has to live close to me because I noticed her dog before I noticed her.
Okay, well, good.
And it's a dog from the like it was adopted, and it's a mutt breed.
Okay.
Like it's not anything.
Yeah.
So I think no matter what, your dog makes you more identifiable.
Yeah. So then I went down that rabbit hole. That was literally like last night. I'm like, okay, but oh well, we'll have to deal with it. So
yeah.
sadly,
I genuinely think that people for the most part are good.
I do too.
Like, I really do. I was talking about this yesterday, and I don't remember who with, but I think that there's public access to information like we wouldn't believe. And if people were as evil as sometimes we talk about them being, I don't...
They could get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
But I don't think there's a lot of benefit in our world to being inherently bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Not that
out
people-
to get people. Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
To like
Because
really
have
hurt
you
people.
seen the TikTok? And I think I could do it too. Like, I have faith. This girl, I don't know if her whole page is about this, but she basically like so she films a video, people will comment on it, and she will find those people's houses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's insane. And it's not hard.
No.
And I'm like,
Well, all
to
you
your
need
point,
is people's names.
Exactly. And to your point, it's like, oh, like, yeah, no one's really out to get me. Because
Matt figured that out for the first time a couple years ago. He was trying to find addresses to send out Christmas cards. And he's like, all of our friends that own homes, it's easier to just look up their names and property records and get their address that way than to wait for them to text back. And he's like, that was the first time I realized how easy. Well, and the thing is, people think that's so crazy, but 30 years ago, it was all in the phone book.
Yeah.
You had your address and your home phone number for people to look up.
Readily available.
Right. So what changed that that's so scary now? I get that.
No, yeah, I get the fear.
I understand it. I relate to it. I don't want people to know where I live. I'm strategic about a lot of things that I do because I don't want it to be easy to find.
Yeah.
But what started happening? Is it just how much more information we have has made it scarier, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know because I grew up in this age, so. I don't know. I feel like it would be scarier back then, though, kind of, because, like, no one's tracking you. Like, you're gone.
Nobody's tracking anybody. Do you know how many people are, like, even that's happening to?
I'm saying, like, you're saying, why
there wasn't as much fear of being kidnapped
back then, maybe, but I would think. But maybe it's just because I grew up in this age, obviously. Back then would be scarier because when you're gone, you're gone. And like
right, that part would be scarier.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know how long you've been gone because there's not this to keep you updated. There's not like what was she wearing? You know, it's like
100%.
All the things.
We have way more tools now, but I also think the biggest thing is we talk about it so much more. True crime podcasts.
Yeah, that's true.
Crime TV, all this stuff. Like we're seeing so much more in our face, and I think that might make us more fearful.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know though.
I don't watch any of that though.
I don't
listen.
Watch a lot of it. I have gone through seasons in life where I watched a lot of it, and the one thing I learned is the majority of crimes like that happen to people by people they know.
Yeah,
and that they know well.
I know. Kind of just is what it is, but
I don't get it.
Sad. I don't get it either. Okay, I'm gonna read another one.
Okay.
Last year I was on vacation with my sister and our parents. We rented a nice vacation house in Croatia. It was very isolated, surrounded by forests, bushes, vineyards, etc. No other people around us. No, terrifying. One night/evening, I don't remember the exact time, but it was very dark. My sister and I wanted to go on a short walk with my dog. We made it a few meters away from the house when we suddenly both heard a woman singing and humming coming from the forest. Kind of creepy singing type, like a horror film mother humming a lullaby for their child. We panicked and ran back to the house.
Absolutely not.
No, that's like in the middle of the woods. I'm out.
I have a funny very short, scary story, kind of. Matt and I, so I've talked about this on TikTok, and I may have talked about it on the podcast. Matt and I shower together every single night. Like, that is our, like, we catch up about our day and, like, talk. And Matt and I are in the shower the other night. We're talking back and forth. I don't even remember what we were talking about. And This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. We have a Google
Oh, yeah.
in our bathroom that controls like the bedroom lights, bathroom lights, all that kind of stuff. One of the little minis. And we're showering, we're talking back and forth. And I don't know what I said, but something I said triggered the Google to turn on, and it like answered a question that it didn't actually hear.
Yeah.
And it didn't faze me at all because I understood in my head how it could have hurt, like,
Okay,
you know?
Yeah.
And Matt,
Shit himself.
because it's like, it didn't just like be like, okay, you know, it wasn't like that.
I like answered it.
Yeah, it was like, you're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, blah, blah, blah. And Matt was like, whoa, like against the shower wall. Like, and I about died laughing because I was like, what were you going to do? Like, did your life just flash before your eyes? Like, do you
naked
do
and
you
afraid?
yeah, like, do you just fight the person naked in the bathroom? Like, what do you do?
I don't know.
You know?
I really don't know.
But I was tickled. I was really tickled. Cause I don't know what you do.
No, I couldn't tell you. Be like, stop.
I was like, you're not gonna be able to go to sleep tonight. Your adrenaline is like at an all-time
roof.
high. So
That's really funny.
yeah, we've had a couple creepy stories with the just like all the devices that listen to you.
Yeah,
Scary.
that is true.
Scary.
The camera is blinking. I'm scared.
Okay,
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. It's gonna be a mini episode, I guess.
Mini episode. Happy Halloween.
Next week's episode is bomb.
So good.
So good. So get excited for that. You can find us at Middle Ground Podcast. Email us hello@middlegroundpodcast.com.co. I can do it right.
Yeah,
No M.
.co.
Yeah. And I hope that you have a wonderful holiday. And if you're
Stay
listening to
safe.
this after Halloween, I hope that you're having a great start to Thanksgiving season and Christmas season for a lot of people.
And all the things.
Yeah.
We love you
y'all.
guys.
Bye.